Hi everybody, happy holidays. I'm Stacy with Stacy's Organizing and Decorating for Life. So today we're going to talk about mental disorders. I hope that everyone's having a happy holiday season, that you're having hot chocolate candy canes and Christmas carols and lights and such, what I would call a Norman Rockwell Christmas. But then on the other end there are those who are not, and I relate with those as well, as the ones who are feeling depressed and overwhelmed that they don't have enough money to possibly buy everybody the gifts for all the parties that they've been invited to and such, and that they're maybe wanting to isolate because of that, or they're suffering a loss of some sort, whether it be a job or a person or relationship or what have you. There's many different reasons for feeling depressed, and depression is one of the leading causes of suicide. Depression is also considered a mental disorder. It is said that 1 in every 4 people suffer from a mental disorder. So there are some mental disorders which we're born with, the ADHD, autism, Asperger's, and then there's other mental disorders that may come from chemical deficiencies or trauma or genetics, societal. I'm not a doctor, and I'm not here to talk to you about those issues. What I am here to talk to you about is being humane during these kind of issues and during these kind of times, and how do we sit with the broken. And as my thumbnail says, we're all mad here, and comparing our disorders with other disorders and looking down on other disorders, even when and not looking at our own problems ourselves. So last week I had also posted a poem, Desiderata. It was at the end of the video, and you probably couldn't read it because I couldn't read it. So I'm also going to talk about that. What I tend to want to bring you with these videos is more unity and less division. So if that's something that you're interested in, I hope that you'll hit the like button on the video, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button too, because that's what I'm here to do, is to help you organize your thoughts and decorate your perspective so that we can all come from a place of love. So with that being said, I'm going to talk about, we can either be in the problem or the solution, and unfortunately the problem oftentimes comes from fear of what we don't understand. So we may tend to want to be judgmental of somebody else because we don't understand what's going on with them. We can't possibly understand everybody. I'm not even trying to say that we can. But we can have compassion and empathy. And sometimes that has to be learned. Sometimes that has to be called into consciousness. And so I'm just suggesting to you that we do that. Oftentimes the best way to do that is to begin by looking at our own self. And when we have compassion for ourselves, we learn to have compassion for others. So, again, we're going to go back to the problem or the solution. The problem is when we compare ourselves with others and make fun of somebody else's crazy, that it doesn't match our crazy, and esteem ourselves because of that. Or what if we have a bully behavior where we're making fun of them and stuff like that? That's why we get some people who people don't even know that they're crazy, that act out in horrific ways. And so if we can have compassion for everyone and realize that everyone is struggling probably with something, I don't think it's just the 1 in 4 people. When we look at disorders, the underneath in those disorders, the trauma, the different things, everybody's had to deal with some traumas. Some people have chemical deficiencies, and so there can be many people who deal with that. If these issues aren't dealt with, they could come out as a health illness as well. So, I'm going to read Desiderata as part of the solution, because as I said before, this is how I choose to live my life. So I want to share that with you and my thoughts on that. Okay, it says, this is Desiderata, and again it's by Max Ehrman, circa 1927. Go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even the dull and the ignorant. They too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexations to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain and bitter, for always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. And we're going to stop there for this week. So it says to go and remember what peace there may be in silence. Sometimes we just need to reflect. We don't always have to have an answer for everything. Sometimes we just need to reflect. And as far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. This isn't suggesting to be a people pleaser. Once we've reflected on ourselves, we know our own motivations and intentions. Therefore, we don't need to defend ourselves to other people should they have a different opinion than we have. We also don't need them to validate our opinions once we've done the work on our own souls and figured out what it is within us that, is seeking. If you're seeking approval, we need to take a look at that. And so if you're not seeking approval, you can be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly. I cannot agree with some people. Say if I'm in a group of people and they're talking poorly about somebody, I can say, I'm not hearing this, blah, 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 and I go on about my business, because that's not what I'm into. Is I don't want to talk about people and put people down or compare myself with somebody else. So it says, listen to others, even the dull and the ignorant. They have their own story. I really hate to call people ignorant, because I believe everybody has something to offer. I have had people on the street that were so-called crazy be able to give me advice, and for me to be able to sit in that moment with them and have an ethereal moment, kind of like a lost in time and space moment, because those two are survivors, and we're all trying to survive some way or sort, and it doesn't always look alike. So, avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexations to the spirit. This is talking about setting boundaries, y'all. You have to set boundaries, and you have to speak your truth quietly and clearly when you do that. So to set a boundary, oftentimes people who are struggling with possible addiction, bipolar, or any of those things that I talked about dissociative earlier, they may be projecting something onto you that you didn't even say, but that's their pain and that's their feeling. So I can respect that they're feeling that way, and I don't have to take it on, and I can excuse myself, because there is no fun to be around people who are yelling and everything. And rather than going into a banter back and forth, it's setting a boundary with myself and setting a boundary with them, that I'm not going to subject myself to unpleasant behavior, and at the same time not judging them and making them feel shitty because they feel the way that they do, which is already pretty bad. I can honor that they feel that way and say, look, I understand you're not feeling good right now. I didn't say that, and when you calm down, maybe we can talk about this if you still want to talk about this. Usually what I've discovered is that person needed to release some anger, and they did their transference of anger on me. Therefore, I need to be taking care of myself, because I know what's real and not real for me. I don't take on their stuff, but I may have to go into nature. I may have to go into my room, because I want the best outcome for all of us. It doesn't serve me to talk poorly or think poorly about them, because some things state that there is no them, that we're all the same. So what I need to do is I need to lift them up, either by prayer or just sending them good vibes and stuff. And sometimes I've just chanted stuff when people were unpleasant to me, and stuff, because I really don't want to be divided with people. That doesn't lift my spirits and make me feel better. That doesn't give me any grace and gratitude. What gives me grace and gratitude is to be able to sit with people who are not feeling well, and then they usually come back around. I don't want to cut people off. I'm not saying that sometimes you don't have to cut people off. By all means, I'm not saying be abused. I'm just saying that once we've cleared things within our own souls, we're not going to have a tendency to go back and forth with this kind of thing, because until we do our own self-healing, we usually, when we cut somebody off and go into the flight or fight mode, and just leave them or what have you, we tend to pick it up with another person, another soul, until we've actually done the healing within ourselves that benefits us in our relationships. Sometimes people say, always attract narcissists. Well, until we do what's within us that attracts narcissists, or maybe you're being attracted to the narcissist. Who knows? The chicken or the egg thing. But until we do the healing within ourselves, we don't have that attraction. You know, there's attraction, repulsion, cohesion, adhesion, all this, and it all goes on into the different forms of matter in society, which is our spirit selves, our people. So that gets really deep, and I'm not going to get into that, but some of you know what I'm talking about. So it's all a part of the same. We are all a part of the same. How can we judge somebody else as crazy? It's the people that sin, miss the mark differently than we do. Does that make you feel better to be able to bully somebody or talk poorly about somebody? Does that really lift your esteem? I think not. It doesn't mine. What really lifts my esteem is being able to laugh at myself and laugh with others. Those are the people that are in my tribe, is we just laugh at ourselves and stuff like that. We're not trying to break anybody down. So I want to collect more of a tribe, and that's what these videos are intended for. So next week we'll talk about more. This ends with not comparing yourselves to others, which is what we've talked about, or you'll become vain and bitter. Because again, like I said, I think we'll be vain and bitter more so if we talk ugly about other people. One of my favorite ministers used to say to us that when we spot something in somebody else that we're wanting to be judgmental about, to say just like me. So with that being an example, if I say somebody's being judgmental, am I not being judgmental by saying they're being judgmental? Again, it can go with like the underlying causes of some of the mental disorders or selfishness. So when if I were to say somebody's being selfish, usually why I would say that is because I'm not getting what I want. But am I not being selfish by saying that they're being selfish because I'm not getting what I want? Do you get it? So it just kind of is a part of that insanity. Insanity is doing the same thing, expecting different results. So I would just suggest that instead of being insane, we look at ourselves, we lift others, because how we carry ourselves with our communication is how we hold others. So with that being said, I hope that this video has helped you some to be able to raise your vibration, so you in turn can raise other people's vibrations, so we can create a collective consciousness that's of the cosmic sort, the divine intelligence, and be a part of the same. Because really, there should be no stigmatism to mental illness. So we all suffer from our own deals, and we're all going to end up the same in a way. So with that being said, I'm pretty tired and I am not making sense anymore. So I'm going to wish you peace, happy holidays, lift others, and it will lift yourself. Bye.